Soon, vehicle and rider pairs were a common sight, partnering up for everyday travel, as well as thrilling races.
Kirby Air Riders is one of those game reveals that I think a lot of people never actually expected to happen. The original is beloved by so many and considered to be one of the GameCube's all-time classics, but after being without a new entry for over 20 years, it didn't seem like anybody could have predicted this. I can't say I have much of a connection to the original Air Ride, but I've grown to love Kirby over the years, so with Nintendo Switch 2, it was finally time for me to see what these spin-offs are all about. Kirby Air Riders is best described as a racing game, but there's a lot more going on here that sets it apart from the rest. Don't be confused, however, this is not your typical kart racer. It's definitely not Mario Kart. The game tries to keep the controls concise, only requiring you to steer and press 2 buttons at most. Your machine will automatically move forward, and all you're really doing is pressing the button that allows you to brake and boost. It's deceptively simple, and takes a bit more time to understand than typical kart racers that people are more familiar with. Around tight corners, many vehicles will have you press and hold B to brake and build up a boost charge. Release B, and you'll have a burst of speed so fast it's like you never even stopped. As you race around, you'll want to inhale enemies to take their copy ability because you're rewarded with more and more speed for each enemy you defeat on the tracks. You can also wiggle the joystick to perform a spin attack that you can use to hit other players and enemies as yet another method for a speed boost. The game makes you want to go fast, and I was a huge fan of any moment where I'd be blazing through the course as quickly as possible. The only time you really hit another button is when your special move is ready, which varies depending on your character and color selected. At the start of each mode, you select your racer and you select your machine. There are over 20 unique riders and machines to choose from, so there are quite a bit of combinations you can come up with. There's some thought required behind the choices you make because each character and machine handle differently. They all have their own different stats. I tend to lean more toward Kirby, but a close second for me is the duo of Lololo and Lalala. I haven't played every Kirby game, but I do appreciate that they pulled a lot of the fan favorites from throughout the entire series to be playable here. In typical Sakurai fashion, it's a celebration of the Kirby series as a whole. The machines you can select are also drastically different from one another. Some machines can fly, others are boost dependent, and it's really up to your desired playstyle that'll determine which machine you want to pick. I tend to lean more toward a basic machine like the Warp Star, which gives me a nice balance of flying and ground traversal. There are some machines that are strictly ground machines, and some of them can't even boost. But as somewhat of a newcomer to the Kirby Air Riders formula, once I got used to boosting, I didn't really want to be without it. Following closely behind other racers, you also have the ability to gain some speed in a trail of stars they leave behind. It drastically speeds you up and makes it way easier to catch up from behind. This almost feels a bit broken at times and kind of makes you want to stay toward the back for most of the race, and then use these star trails to actually win in the end. I can't tell you how many races I've lost just because I was passed at the last second because of this. It's one of those features that kinda stinks when it happens to you, but it also feels so incredibly satisfying or even evil to pull off against others. I try to combat this feature by swerving as I race, but there's only so much I can actually do. The main mode found in the game is Air Ride mode. This is where you'll find the typical race structure you'd go into this game expecting. Air Ride mode has 18 tracks to race on, consisting of brand new tracks and the original tracks from the GameCube iteration. I love that the team took the time to recreate just about everything found in the original game, albeit with a fresh coat of paint so it matches the standards of the new stuff. Racing through each track is such an exhilarating feeling, especially when myself and another racer are neck and neck. You really feel the speed as you approach every turn, and it's always a plus when a racing game feels fast yet remains manageable to control. Again, the single button gameplay really helps with that. Playing through each track for the first time was like a fish out of water experience for me, as I was a total stranger to their layouts, save for some of the returning tracks. This meant I wasn't really sure where the optimal moments to fly would be versus when I should be on the ground, and it encouraged me to often race on these tracks multiple times in a row. Depending on how long the track is, the number of laps can vary. They all feel pretty similar in length because of this, and it made me more inclined to hop in and do a few quick races from time to time. City Trial mode is easily the star of the show in Kirby Air Riders. When referencing the original game, this is the mode that everyone talks about, and it's even better than before. Up to 16 players can fly around an arena gathering power-ups and items, trying to build the best combination to take part in a final stadium match. In this mode, you're able to attack others while you're exploring, and even hop off your machine to grab a new one. While you're scavenging, there are a variety of events that can occur, like meteors raining down from the sky, or various boxes you can find shrinking in size. There were so many instances that got genuine laughs out of me, such as when I'd put together the pieces of one of the rare legendary machines and be able to wreak havoc on my opponents while they remained powerless to stop me. Skya is a pretty big map to explore, and I've had a lot of fun exploring different biomes and the areas of the map every time I play. I was even genuinely surprised to see you can fall down the volcano and actually explore what's inside. I don't think it's been long enough for me to come to an actual conclusion right now, but I do feel like the game could have benefited from maybe one other map for City Trial. Right now it's just Skya, and while I haven't exactly gotten bored of it yet, I wonder how long it'll take to overstay its welcome. And I know there are no plans for updates or DLC in this game, but it just seems weird to not include maybe like the original map from the first game in here. After a set amount of time on the map, usually 5 minutes, everyone takes the vehicles they've been building up and competes in some sort of stadium match. This can range from who can fly the furthest or who can defeat the most enemies to who can make it to the end of a race course the fastest. Typically the event is random and everybody votes on one of 4 selected events that they'd like to participate in, but my friends and I found it to be more fun if we could all just participate in the same match together, and we tend to disable the setting that allows for the voting process. With the standard rules, it felt pretty pointless if we were all competing against each other in the city at the start, but didn't actually get to face each other in the end. The thing about City Trial is, and always has been, you either love it or you hate it. I used to be pretty neutral on this mode, but I actually like it a lot now. That being said, I have an infinitely more fun time when I'm playing it with my friends compared to public lobbies online. I probably should devise some sort of strategy when I'm playing City Trial, but I just don't. I'm mostly driving around grabbing any power-ups I can find and hope that it works out for me in the end. Because of this, there are so many moments in matches where my speed is absolutely cranked up to an 11 and becomes near impossible to discern what I'm doing in this mode without having to slam on the brakes, adjust my trajectory, and then fly forward. It's chaotic, but I actually really love it. Top Ride is probably the mode I've played the least, but I've still had a decent time with it. It's essentially your normal air ride race, but from a top-down perspective, and on its own unique set of maps. It also has 2 different ways of controlling, so you can choose to steer how you want to. You've got your items and boost mechanics, and you want to be the first across the finish line in this almost slot car-like race mode. I don't really have much to say about it because it's so similar to the air ride races, but it's different enough that it feels like a nice change of pace while still feeling just as intense as a normal race. The 3 modes I just mentioned can be played online with friends or in public lobbies. I've probably spent most of my time playing the game within an online lobby against strangers in ranked matches. Online gatherings with friends take place in lobbies known as paddocks. Up to 32 players can join a single paddock. It's pretty standard as far as online lobbies go, and you can run and jump around with your selected character as you interact with everybody else currently in the same lobby. Here you can also listen to music, show off custom vehicles, or even emote with others. When it's time to play, somebody can set up a set of rules in whatever game mode they like, and others can join that gameplay session. You have to do this every single time, so it gets a bit repetitive during shorter gameplay bursts. It's just a bit frustrating to have to set up these matches from top to bottom every single time my friends and I wanted to race, and it would have been nice for some sort of Grand Prix or playlist option. I would have also really liked the ability to play with a few friends while in a public lobby matched up against randoms, but there doesn't seem to be a way to do that. But in terms of good news, in the many hours I've spent playing the various online modes, I can't recall any instance of frequent lag or disconnects, so it's a pretty smooth experience overall. Kirby Air Riders' biggest new addition is the introduction of Road Trip mode. This is the single-player story campaign where you travel through different worlds and take part in a combination of all 3 modes. You'll collect power-ups and vehicles and make your way through each stage. There are a few cutscenes here and a completely original narrative for the game, which expands on the overall Kirby universe just a little bit. As you drive, there will be challenges involving Air Ride, Top Ride, City Trial, and even some boss fights. As you clear each stage, you unlock power-ups, vehicles, money, and you'll want to use these items to power up your character and be able to defeat each boss at the end of each world. There are also some branching paths throughout, so subsequent playthroughs might give you a different experience with how the different NPCs interact with the roadblocks you face. I started out with Road Trip for most of my time with the game at first, so it was a great way for me to kind of get an equal experience with all of the different modes the game has to offer without spending too much time on one compared to another. Each complete playthrough of Road Trip takes a few hours, so going for complete status with every character on every difficulty will surely take a lot of time. It didn't really wow me at first. It kind of felt like a version of Super Smash Bros.'s classic mode that's a bit slower and might go on for too long. And while I wasn't necessarily blown away, the more I played and powered up my character, the more I started to have more fun with the mode. Suddenly I'm demolishing these challenges even on hard mode, and it feels so rewarding. I'm trying to grow my machine to be as strong as possible, and there's no looking back. I like to try out every different possible path and gather as many rewards as possible. Some of it does feel like it drags on for a bit, but ultimately it's not the focus of the game for me. But this is probably where I'll be coming back to whenever I need a quick single player fix of the game. I've attempted a few playthroughs on New Game Plus already, and admittedly it does start to feel a tiny bit repetitive. Maybe down the line I'll try to have it cleared with every single character in the game, but for now I have most of my fun online with friends. There's also a good number of collectibles to be found in Kirby Air Riders. I was surprised at just how you start with basically nothing, but I love that there is so much to unlock here in terms of riders and machines especially. This actually goes in tandem with the over 700 challenges that there are to complete on the various challenge boards. It actually gave me something to work toward, and I would often check what the qualifications were to unlock my next reward. You can unlock so many different things in the game, like characters, machines, courses, and even cosmetics that you can use to decorate your online license. I appreciate how the game notifies you of the challenges you can attempt when selecting a mode or a course, and it makes it easy to track a specific challenge at any point during the game within the menus. One of these days I'd like to have everything in the game unlocked. There's just something so satisfying about finishing a match and seeing a whole bunch of challenges clear at once, even if this magic kinda starts to disappear the more you play. Kirby Air Riders is a really colorful game. When I was flying through all the tracks, it almost became harder for me to really take in the landscapes. Floria Fields, the first stage, really sticks out in my head for the grassy green environment and the flowers, but also the stages that bring you into space are other standouts for me. It really feels like this is one of the first games on Switch 2 to really demonstrate the console's graphical capabilities. Sometimes during races it was fun to just stop and look around because the world is so full of detail. and while the game stutters occasionally in the menus and during loading, it has extremely smooth performance during gameplay. I really enjoy the menu and the UI aesthetic of the game too. It's pretty slick and matches the high speed and action themes the game is going for. However, there were just plenty of moments where the elements felt too familiar. For obvious reasons, these were moments where just about every aspect of the visuals and design screamed Super Smash Bros. Ultimate. It's not at all a bad thing, it just kinda made me laugh because of how similar it all looked and felt. The game's soundtrack is unsurprisingly really great. It's upbeat and even dramatic at times, emphasizing the competitive emotion throughout every single match. I'm not too well versed in my Kirby knowledge, but there were many moments where I'd recognize a melody or a track, be it a Super Smash Bros. Remix or from the original Kirby game itself. It'll have been a few hours since I played the game, and I'll find myself humming or whistling a few of the songs. Kirby Air Riders is an extremely fun time if you're willing to put in the effort and learn it. It's not going to dethrone other games as the go-to kart racer for social gatherings in my life, but it's fun enough that a few rounds of city trial here and there will surely make for an entertaining time. It's chaotic, but that's where the fun comes in. Kirby Air Riders is a party game that remembers not to take itself too seriously while still providing plenty of fan service for the Kirby fans. With a pretty extensive roster of racers and machines, there's a lot to customize here that'll make the experience truly your own. This probably isn't the game for the casual kart racer fan, but anybody who likes the original Kirby Air Ride on GameCube or is looking to try something new is guaranteed to have a fun time here.